Welcome, history buffs and culture enthusiasts, to a journey back in time. Today we're diving deep into the heart of one of the world's most captivating civilizations, ancient Egypt. Forget what you think you know from the movies, because we're about to uncover the rich, complex, and utterly fascinating reality of Egyptian culture. From their monumental pyramids to their intricate beliefs about the afterlife, get ready to explore a world that has mesmerized humanity for millennia. So, let's start with the basics. When you think of ancient Egypt, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people, it's the pyramids, and for good reason. These colossal structures, especially the Great Pyramids of Giza, weren't just tombs. They were a testament to the incredible power, wealth, and architectural genius of the pharaohs. Imagine, tens of thousands of skilled workers, not slaves as is often depicted, quarrying massive stone blocks, transporting them across the desert, and assembling them with a precision that still baffles engineers today. These pyramids were stairways to the heavens, designed to ensure the pharaoh's soul could ascend and join the gods. But Egyptian culture was so much more than just grand monuments. It was a society deeply intertwined with religion and the natural world, especially the Nile River. The Nile was the lifeblood of Egypt. Its annual flood, known as the inundation, deposited rich, fertile silt along its banks, allowing agriculture to flourish in an otherwise arid desert. This predictable cycle of flood and harvest shaped their calendar, their economy, and their entire worldview. They saw the river as a gift from the gods, and their pantheon was filled with deities who controlled these natural forces, like Hapi, the god of the Nile flood. Let's talk about those gods. The ancient Egyptians had a vast and complex pantheon, with hundreds, if not thousands, of gods and goddesses. Some were major, national deities like Ra, the sun god, who sailed across the sky in his solar bark each day, and Osiris, the god of the underworld and resurrection. Others were local gods, worshipped in specific towns or regions. These weren't just distant, abstract figures. The gods were a part of daily life. People wore amulets for protection, made offerings at local temples, and believed the pharaoh himself was a divine intermediary, a living god on earth. This divine kingship gave the pharaoh absolute authority, not just as a political leader, but as the religious head of state responsible for maintaining cosmic order, or Ma'at. And this concept of Ma'at was central to their beliefs. Ma'at represented truth, justice, balance, and harmony. It was the principle that governed the universe, from the movement of the stars to the ethical conduct of individuals. Living a life according to Ma'at was essential, not just for a stable society, but for your fate in the afterlife. Which brings us to one of the most famous aspects of Egyptian culture, their obsession with death. Well, it wasn't really an obsession with death, but rather an intense focus on ensuring a successful journey to the afterlife. They believed death was just a temporary interruption, a transition to an eternal existence. To get there, your soul had to navigate a perilous journey through the underworld, facing monstrous creatures and tricky tests. The famous Book of the Dead was essentially a cheat sheet, a collection of spells and instructions to guide the deceased through these challenges. The final exam was the weighing of the heart ceremony. Your heart, believed to be the seat of intelligence and emotion, was weighed on a scale against the feather of Ma'at. If your heart was heavy with sin, it would be devoured by a terrifying beast called Amit, and your soul would cease to exist. But if it was light and pure, you were granted entry into the blissful field of reeds, a heavenly paradise. This is why mummification was so important. They believed the soul, or the Ka and Ba, needed a physical body to return to in the afterlife. The process was incredibly elaborate, especially for royalty. It involved removing the internal organs, except for the heart, drying the body with natron salt and wrapping it in hundreds of yards of linen bandages, often with protective amulets tucked within the folds. The organs themselves were preserved in special containers called canopic jars, each protected by one of the four sons of Horus. It was a scientific and religious masterpiece, all aimed at one goal: cheating oblivion and achieving immortality. Now let's step away from the tombs and temples and look at the people themselves. What was daily life like for an ordinary Egyptian? Society was highly structured, like a pyramid. At the very top was the pharaoh. Below him were the nobles, high priests, and government officials like the vizier. Then came the soldiers, the scribes, who were highly respected for their literacy, and the skilled artisans, the doctors, and the engineers. The vast majority of the population, the base of the pyramid, were farmers, laborers, and servants. Despite this rigid hierarchy, it wasn't a static society. It was possible, though difficult, for someone from a lower class to rise through education. A farmer's son, who learned to read and write, could become a scribe, a prestigious and well-paid profession that opened doors to government service. Women in ancient Egypt also enjoyed a relatively high status compared to other ancient cultures. They could own property, run businesses, and even inherit the throne, as shown by powerful female pharaohs like Hatshepsut. They weren't just confined to the home, they were active participants in society. And what did they do for fun? Egyptians loved music, festivals, and games. They played board games like Senet, which was not just a game, but also symbolized the journey to the afterlife. They enjoyed storytelling, hunting in the marshes, and lavish banquets with plenty of food, beer, and wine. Beer, in fact, was a staple of the Egyptian diet for everyone, from the pharaoh to the pyramid builder. It was a source of nutrition and was even used as a form of payment. We can't talk about Egyptian culture without mentioning their incredible artistic and intellectual achievements. Think about hieroglyphs. This beautiful and complex writing system was more than just a way to record history. It was considered sacred, the words of the gods. Hieroglyphs could be written in different directions and combined picture-like symbols with phonetic sounds. For centuries, their meaning was lost until the discovery of the Rosetta Stone in 1799, which had the same text in hieroglyphs, Demotic script, and ancient Greek, providing the key to finally deciphering them. Their achievements in science and medicine were also remarkable. They developed a solar calendar with 365 days, incredibly accurate for its time. Their medical papyri show a surprising knowledge of anatomy, surgery, and a wide range of ailments and treatments. While their medicine was a blend of practical observation and magical spells, they were performing complex procedures, setting broken bones, and even had specialists, like dentists and proctologists. As we wrap up our journey, it's clear that ancient Egyptian culture was a vibrant tapestry, woven from threads of religion, innovation, art, and a profound connection to the Nile. They were master builders, pioneering scientists, and deep philosophical thinkers who contemplated life, death, and eternity in ways that still resonate with us today. Their legacy isn't just in the gold of Tutankhamun's mask or the sheer scale of the Karnak temple. It's in the foundations of writing, timekeeping, and governance that have trickled down through history. They created a culture so powerful and enduring that thousands of years later, we are still trying to unlock all its secrets. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible exploration of ancient Egypt. There's so much more to discover, from their fashion and food to their military might. What part of Egyptian culture fascinates you the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more deep dives into history, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thanks for watching.